It was in 1962. We were in an apostolic church, and we met him. Well, our pastor was Brother Samuel Johnson, and he had just come back from California. I never met Brother Branham, but at that time we had to go reel to reel, reel to reel.
Yeah.
And I think that was such an experience because it wasn't like now you can flip a button. We had to learn how to go back, come back, learn to go back and come back. But the messages was serpent seed because I had been a woman preacher, and up until that time it was common in the 50s and 60s. It was very common. But then me and my husband, we married in 1964, and my sister had just come back from Jeffersonville where he had preached marriage and divorce. And it was not like a 15-minute sermon. We would sit for hours, Brother Craig, and turn that little knob for months and months, because when you're not in the presence of a man, but the presence of those sermons
Yes.
would just eat at your heart. But Brother Johnson preached one night about women preachers, and I sit there, and me and my husband, and there was 3 other women that was in our midst. And I sit there, and I felt like you. It was not like I seen this man, but the presence was, it was, thus saith the Lord.
Amen.
And I'd been serving the Lord since I was 18, but there was something about this voice, and that's where we are today. We will never meet the man, but the voice is still alive.
Yes, yes,
after
it is.
all of these years.
Amen.
It's never left me. So we were all sitting there in this particular sermon, and Brother Johnson was talking on what Brother Branham said about women where they belonged in the church. And like Bonnie said, we'd come in and everybody would talk and, introduce themselves. But that particular night was a little bit different for me, because me and my husband, we always went in and sit down, and he began to, and it was almost like Brother Johnson was looking right at me and he'd point his finger. But he didn't. I just felt that was what he was doing to me. See, I heard
Yes.
that. And he just told us, how the Spirit of the Lord had visited this prophet. And I never met him, but I said, I want to know more, because I don't want to be lost. So he preached, and me and James and the other little sisters that had come with us, we stood outside, and she looked at me and James, and she put her hand on her hips, and she says, there is no man telling me that I have not been called to preach. And I stood there, and it was almost like a light come on. And I said, but if it's God, why would you not want to hear it? Well, no man is going to tell me. And I think that's where many are today. They don't want to hear the man, but they don't realize there's a voice there.
That's right. That's right.
And I said, from this night on, I will follow what I can hear.
Amen.
Well, that's been 1963 and 1964. Been a lot of rivers we've crossed. There's been a lot of valleys we've went in. Many have come and many have gone. But for some reason, Brother Craig, our feet is still here.
Praise the Lord.
And if there's something else that he has for us, then we want to hear it. And it does seem like now there's more revelation of what we're going to face in the next few years if we're still here. Because back then it was marriage and divorce. It was serpent seed. It was the voices. But now we're seeing more than we've ever seen before.
Praise the Lord.
And now, as I said, like this morning, we're in this prophecy.
Amen. Amen.
So we're still here. It's been a long time,
Yes.
but the voice is still alive.
Praise the Lord.
James.
Well, when I was 10 years old, we lived in Tennessee.
We got in a farm's truck, went across the Mississippi River into Missouri and into Jonesboro, Arkansas, at Reed's Tabernacle. And I've seen some miracles down there that you don't see today. And when I was sitting across the aisle, there was a young girl, not the same age as me, about 10 years old. Brother Branham was praying for the sick, and she began to make fun of them. And I kept looking at her, and she was cutting up and making fun, and all of a sudden, she went into fits and foaming at the mouth. And her mama started screaming, and Brother Branham stopped. He said, "Bring that girl to me." And her mama got up there, and Brother Branham asked her, says, "Has that girl ever done it?" She said, "No, sir." He says, "You know why she's done that?" The mom said, "No, I don't." He said, "That girl was sitting back there making fun of what I was doing up here, what God was trying to do." And says, "I want everybody to be silent." And brother, I think I crawled under my seat. I was scared to death. And he prayed for that girl, and that spirit left her.
Praise the Lord.
And he told that girl, he says, "Don't you ever make fun of sick people again." And then the same night was the man that was on crutches for 38 years. And Brother Branham prayed for it. He threw them crutches out through the congregation and took off and running.
Praise the Lord.
And you know, my daddy and my mama seen all of this.
But your sister too.
But I was the only one in the family, by the grace of God, that ever come out. But me and Patty, we had a position, you might as well say a position in the Pentecostal church. And we went over to Brother Johnson's that Saturday night, and he preached hell, fire, and damnation, and I tell you, looked like fire coming out of his eyes. And we got in the car, started back home, and I said, "Pat," I said, "we're going back next Saturday night." I said, "That man's got something we need." So next Saturday night we went, and coming back home, I said, "We're leaving the Pentecostal church." And I was driving Sunday morning, my pastor's car, from the radio, broadcasting Ypsilanti, because I was the announcer. And my sister-in-law was a singer, and she was in the back seat. And I told him, I said, on the way home, I said, "Brother Satterfield," I said, "this is my last day here." I said, "I'm going to Brother Johnson's." I said, "He's got something that me and my wife need." He laughed and he said, "If you go over there," he says, "you'll backslide." I said, "Well, it won't hurt me because I'm already backslid." But I said, "I'm going to find out what this is all about." And that's in 65, brother, and we've been there ever since. We've been through church splits. We've been through people that's criticized this. A lot of things we don't understand, still things we don't understand. When I stand before God, I'm going to look and say, I still don't understand. But He's gonna make us to understand
Amen.
everything on that day. And I want my soul to be right when I are called from this earth.
Brother and Sister Wallace, does the anchor hold?
Yes, it holds. That anchor's held all through these years, brother.
57 years.
Praise the Lord.
Yep.
Praise the Lord. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you.